what I'm going to do is show you the way to do a head. And basically, I'm just kind of showing how Lucio showed me how to do the head. I've worked with him 3 different times. I'm fortunate to be in Murano with him for a week once with a bunch of other guys. And, I mean, he's influenced my work tremendously. What I'm going to make here is like a fake shoulder, just a gathered glass that I'm going to flatten down and give the impression that it's shoulder. It'll be a minute before it gets cool. If you want to video any of it for your own use, that's totally cool. Good luck if you're trying to follow where I'm going. Oh yeah, there's one thing I was telling you about Milan. He does his circular burn off and he does his thing. Then I do my other thing here. Maybe about 40 years ago, for whatever reason, I started picking up rods and they did that. And I don't know if you've noticed I do that, but it's my one quirk. When I pick a rod up, I spin it around. And I have the ability when I'm doing it and it looks cool because I'll be doing a demo and I'll pick up a rod and it'll always land dead center right where it goes. And people say, what was that? So, what'd you do? So I picked my rod up. No, you didn't. And it's like there's this little weird, quirky little thing. So this, if you figure, is shoulders. I'm going to do this head way bigger than is needed for the piece that I'm going to do afterwards. And what you're going to make for and this is classic Italian, European influenced glassworking, lampworking that is done in a style pretty much called a chin strut. And it's a simple little thing. And I mean, everybody can do a glass head. But there's certain things around it that make it really hard, and what's really hard is generally the chin and stuff. If I make a gathered glass and then I start adding parts to it, if I am not welding perfectly cleanly, you're going to see every part that I did to make the completed head. So either you're going to weld everything perfectly, or you're going to eliminate 1 or 2 steps. And the elimination of the 1 or 2 steps is trying to eliminate having to add a chin. So what I've got here is roughly, if you consider that this little thing on the end of the rod is a T, and I've got a neck coming out of it, and then I have this strut coming out of what will become the chin. The whole idea on this is if I do this with the correct temperature, that I'm going to get a gathered glass in my right hand. I'm going to get it ripping hot when I drop it down on this, the neck part and that chin strut. I'm going to heat these to the perfect temperature so that when the big gather falls down, that if the temperature of this is quite happy with the temperature of the gather, the glass is going to come down on the neck and then run down the chin strut, and it's going to build me a chin with me out without me having to add other glass to make the chin after the fact. And if I were to do the chin afterwards, like I do a ball, a nice big oval, and then I add glass to the chin, unless I am perfect in my welding, there's a chance that you'll see a weld mark, you'll see a burn. If I'm doing it out of colored glass, you'll see that there's a color that doesn't match. But if I do this whole thing as one gather that drops down on the neck and the chin, then I can start removing glass, not adding glass. I can start removing glass and finding the head that's within that whole gather. So I'm going to make this gather in my right hand way bigger than I need. Now I'm going to start heating up the chin and the strut. I'm getting the second stage red on the chin and the strut. I'm going to drop down this gather. As I heat this in, it'll fall down on the neck and that chin strut. Now I dropped the gather mostly on the chin, or on the neck, then a lot of it moved into the chin. "25 years ago, I had Emilio Santini teach at my show in Tucson, and there were 8 students, and I was one of them, and I went to the dollar store and I got 8 of these little knives for $1, and I've used it for thousands of pieces. It just fits in nicely. Can I get a bucket with some water or something? One of those? Oh, he's right over here. Thank you. So I'm mostly, still I haven't added anything yet, and I'm going to start removing some glass. And a lot of this is, you know, you're going to recognize a head in there. Another thing too is coming in and punching this up and down so the head is narrower through here than front to back. And now I'm going to start stealing away some glass. And the first I'm going to start is taking glass from the forehead down to the chin. And you can see now that that chin strut has become part of the chin area, and there's more glass here than is needed. So I'm going to come and slightly pull down. I'm trying to do this, the head is actually bending a little bit, and I didn't want to do that as much. I'm going to I need to get this kind of liquefied, stealing glass from what would be the forehead down to the chin. This will be like from above the right eye down to the chin. Over here is from the left eye down to the chin. And if you look at this on the silhouette, this is what I'm working on, is I'm looking at it, building it up as a silhouette of the piece. I know I'm thick enough left to right, ear to ear. But as I'm working it, I'm trying to look at it to recognize the head, not from a picture, but just from being a human, and I can tell, yeah, that's a head over there. So I'm doing this slowly, and again here, this is coming like from the right eye down to the chin. And what I'm doing is trying to remove the parts that don't belong there without having to add more glass. If I can do the majority of this without adding, then it's going to be better. And then in the same way that I prefer to do things that are easy, and hands are hard to do, so I always put something in somebody's hand if I'm doing a hand. What I'm going to do on this guy, I'm going to add a goatee in the mustache and hair, just so that I can disguise it a little bit easier, and for me it's easier to do as a human form. I'll be using this leather tool. It's got a little oval indentation on it as my eye forming tool. So I'm kind of happy with the shape of the head just overall. I'm going to go in to a little area that will be the mouth. And I'll also be using this little leather tool that has all these little lines down it. And I'll be using it to texture the hair. And the only added glass I've done so far right now will be the nose. Before I do the nose, I'm going to do the right eye. And I'm going to come in with this tool by touching the right cheekbone, pushing it up and then going above the cheekbone and kind of gouging in and up so that it'll leave a high cheekbone, but it'll push the eye socket in and it'll push what was the eye into an eyebrow. So I'm trying to manipulate the glass and not add any more, but push it in, and the eyebrow's there now, so that gives you a clue as to that part. Then I'm going to try and do it over, and right now I'm real happy in that I haven't gone in and I haven't added any glass yet. This is still that same gather, which means there's no burn mark, there's no added glass, there's no bubble, there's nothing that's usually going to look bad. Okay, so now I'm going to come in, push down a little bit underneath the eye itself with a little flat end of this on both sides. I'm going to redefine the right eye, the left eye. Fancy little foot there, okay, yeah. I'm Louis, I can do it. Now when I go in and lay on this gathered glass, I'm actually going to attach it between the eyes and bring it down more glass than I needed now so that I can remove it. As I look at it, I'm mostly doing this from recognition. You do this one more, I'm gonna just beat the shit out of you. I hate inanimate things that move. Like, if the genie gave me 3 wishes, one's for like good health, 2 is like for a nice job and money, and the 3rd is to animate inanimate objects so I can make them hurt, like a chair. Or like that rock over there that I tripped over. I want to hurt that rock. I touch this to hold it steady to go here. For all the guys working standing up, earlier in the class I was saying you brace your elbows, you touch your fingers, or you do detail work on something with your elbows braced. There's 2 muscle groups in both your elbow or your hands between what you're doing. If you're standing up doing detail work on something that's going from this to that to this to that, 8 muscle groups have to be in sync, perfect, for you to touch your piece, you know, like something together, or to do detail, and you're just hurting yourself. So somehow bridge your elbows and make yourself better. I'm going to pull out some stringer here. This is a little kind of like what I want. This might be more advanced than what we're going to do tomorrow, but I think that you guys are capable of doing it. Yeah. I'm going to pull this down so that it's just thinner. There's a little piece of metal in there that was a little burr, so I'm going to remove it. So to take this sideways, so I can work right below the nose, add a little glass here. Pull that upside down so that from this angle there's nothing in the backfire. The same little area, what I'm working is kind of a little goatee area that is on either side of the cheek. Think Trotsky, as you know your history. I'm doing this so I don't run into the eyebrow or the nose. You can start to see the head shaping up a bit. It's much easier to do a face that has facial hair than somebody that doesn't. Now, I'm going to come in and do a little gather glass that will become the ear. That's where it belongs. And it's actually just a little dot. And I'm pushing it in and away. Real simple. And my hairline is going to come up on that ear. And you're welcome to come in as close as you want, or definitely before I throw this in the oven. And you can kind of see how this is shaping up. And right now all I've added is the ears and the nose and some of the bit of the chin.
Okay. Nice.
And you really go to building from the silhouette when because you're going to recognize him better that way. So now this is going to go real quick, and I'm going to kind of start up at the top of his head. I'm doing this little zigzag thing, and all I'm doing is laying in a certain volume of glass. This isn't the end result. This is laying glass down that I can texture. You want to try and get it right up to behind where that ear was, or is. And then now I'm below the left ear, I'm doing the tooling. Behind the ear, above the left eye. I'm working around the top of the forehead. I put it into water. It gives me a tap this. The first years ago when I started using these tools 40 years ago, I did all the tooling on my Indian dancers to get texture through these tools. And right off the bat, the first thing I realized is that they're 4 inches long. They heated up and burned me, so I put them on wooden dowels. So this is 40 years of patina from my skin sweat. The second thing I noticed is when you're tooling these 5, 6, 7, 8 times, the tool heats up, so you cool it off. You put it in water. And then you come over to do your thing again, that water drop, you get burned. Or the steam, it'll come off. The first clue is that it'll hit and it'll be like steam. So that's why the first thing you do that. I've been doing that for 40 years, just as a secondary thing. But if you're doing the tooling, the tools will burn you from the water that you dip them in to cool. It's like the strangest thing. You wouldn't really think about it till you get that first burn, and then you really think about it. And I don't know if you can see that I'm mostly trying to come down on this and roll it in. I'm not like punch. I'm rolling it in, and it's easier on the glass. And now the last thing I'll do is to try and lay in a little bit of an eyebrow, because if I did the eyebrow earlier, it would have melted in, and I want it to be distinct. So I laid down like 3 little dots in a row. Instead of a wipe, I went with little dots in a row. And then those are squished flat with my tweezers and put into the right spot where the eyebrow would be. And then I tooled it so that they're little bushy eyebrows.
Awesome. Wow. So much detailing you get to see.
That's what I was going for. Wow. Or actually move it where I'm not right behind it. You might get a better look at it. And it's not going to win a prize, but it's better than you. Hey, now I'll show you. Yeah, that's me. I told you I was going to get ruder throughout the day, didn't I? I mean, for real. And the other thing too, you go into garage sales, flea markets, you know, stuff like that, thrift shops, there's always these little busts of Beethoven and all these things like that. You know, you can learn an awful lot from those guys. Okay.
Well, yeah, thanks, man.
Now the other option is this little handy dandy tool by Paragon Studios, Greg Burgard. This is about 25, 30 years old. Somebody here was asking about what was that, and I had a hot gather and I just stuck it in there. And this is why a lot of my little animals or little people have faces this big. I don't know if that's easier to catch that on there against the black, but it's a great thing. It works good for soft glass or boro. And there, if you do a person that is about 4 1/4 inches tall, on the 1/7 rule of your head is 1/7 the body of a body, if you're an artist, then this ends up being the perfect size where you can do the head and then you can come in and mold this into here. But you can see that it's just a perfect little face, the silhouette.
Oh, wow.
And it's a beautiful little woman. So all you got to do is change the figures, the proportions a little bit on it, but it's small, it's difficult to work in. And you can add eyebrows, you can do ears, make it bigger, and you can turn it into a little devil, you can turn it into somebody, you know, with hair or a ponytail. You can do anything with it as a base, but it's just that one little size. Okay?
Awesome.
I'm not sure about being able to just go jump right in and do that, but do you want me to show you something else that's advanced, or something that you want me to see now? Or do you want to go back and do something else? You guys decide. If you say, hey, can you show me this, or can you show me that? I can pretty much show you anything. But do you want me to do another demo for you? Or do you want to go in and do another elephant or stuff? I mean, give me a clue.
Maybe try one more.
Dragon.
Do another demo! Just kidding.
No, what? You want me to do another? Because I showed the dragon once, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the dragon I did was kind of simple and lame, but I'll do another unlame dragon, just because you deserve unlame. But I'll also show you the other thing too, is that most of you, where you're ready there, I think Greg's dad already lined up a bunch of punties the right length, because and also I want to make sure that you eliminate all the little bent and squiggly rods that are going to cut you. And because if they don't cut you, they're going to cut the next person that's there.
What size rod are you going to use?
This is 9, this is 8. I normally don't work with 5, 7, 9, 11. Forever I've worked with 4, 6, 8, 10, and then ½ inch and 3/4, 5/8, and 1, and on from there. And it's just that you don't need everybody in the world, you know, a different, you know, I mean, what's a millimeter difference?
Yeah, I went right in the pool.
Right?
I went right into the fence and tried to hook it up and I went right into the fence.
Right?
I don't want to say anything, but it's on me.
Yeah, Verizon.
This is just going to be a quick little dragon, and it's mostly to show you, this is the same as the dolphin body that we condensed. So you got a rod, we're going to heat it up, we're going to condense it like a snake that ate a pig. So here's your first pig. And you figure this guy's going to probably be a 3-pig dragon. So I'm going to condense one more gather. And this is just to show you that you're going to condense these gathers 1, 2, 3 in a row as a way of gauging how big the piece will be. And then those individual gathers there in the middle will be condensed and turned into one smooth gather. Like that's like 3 little blobs now. So I'm going to melt these all in until they start to smooth out. I'm going to see what the position of the body is going to be. What I'm going to be doing now is my tail. When I go to do this tail, and he's going to bend around, the tail is going to go left, right, left, right. You notice that for me to turn the glass rod holding in my right hand left, I'm not going to move it left. I'm going to change this with my left hand. I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, and that changes where the tail is going. And then I'm going to draw this out, and then I'm going to roll that 180 degrees. And then all I'm doing is moving the rod that is my holding rod for the dragon, left, right, and that makes the tail curl left, right, left, right. Now to do the legs, you got to gather here with 2nd stage red. I'm going to wait till that goes 2nd stage red. They flow together, they're happy. I'm going to pull up on this, do a little double pull, burn that off. 2nd stage red. I'm going to heat this up to 2nd stage. Now I'm going to wipe up on this and then wipe back down and pull it off to the side. And this is like the lower section of the leg. I'm going to touch the tail and then come down until that touches as a way of gauging it. This piece will balance on the tip of the tail and each of these feet. 2nd stage here, go down, back. Touch the tail, touch the other leg, and now bring it down to where it's centered. This leg, I'm going to add a little bit more to it. this guy, I'm going to do his arms from the front. The last demo I didn't. If there's any question, just scream out right in the middle of it here. Now I'm going to pull down the arm, the right arm first for the dragon, and there's nothing in the backfire behind it. Each time you add another component, you want to make sure there's nothing straight behind where you are, and eventually that will end up making you, change your angle around to where there's an angle here for me to do that side or whatever. You'll discover which ones don't have anything behind it. So I squish that a little bit, and that will become a hand after I put some fingers on it. Throw some heat into the body. I haven't deliberately heated the body up for a couple of minutes. I want to see it get a nice glow. And now I'm going to just do something real simple as a thumb on either side. Real simple little triple fingers. Now I'm going to do a double pull on the wing. Heat up the second stage red where I'm going to attach the wing. I'm going to heat up the glass I'm going to draw down to do the double pull. Do it again. One more time. Each time you do the double pull, it ends up pulling a line of striatia. It will just look cool in it. I mean, it's not going to win a prize or anything, but it just adds a little more character to it. And then into the backfire. That's my oven. There's a lot of lame-ass fools that'll just put this in an oven every step, and they just are lame-ass fools. You don't need to do that. So again, second stage red. And I think I did 3 or 4 double pulls, so I'm just going to keep doing it until I can see that I can match up that first wing. A little flat, 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 flat. Underneath the chin, pull it straight out. Backfire, flat, 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 flat. Inner aspect of that upper section of the mouth was upside down, so you want to do that while you're upside down. And when you're making a piece for somebody, like somebody's making a dragon, can you make me a dragon? You're working at some festival or the mall or whatever, and for you to sell successfully, you're going to have to own them. The easiest way to own them is to make them grin, or to make them laugh, or to make them be on your side. And the easiest way with a dragon is, oh, okay, I can make a dragon. What kind of dragon would you want? You know Puff the Magic Dragon? Oh, yeah. You want Puff the Magic Dragon, or do you want the dragon that ate Puff? They all want the 8 Puff dragon. That's coal seal. That's the dragon that ate Puff. You can see the little puff bits there. That's the dragon. Do you want me to do, what time are we, 4:30?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
4:30 exactly.
Wow. Louis knows. Do you want me to keep doing some more stuff? Will you tell me what you want me to see? Oh, I'll show you something that'll freak you. You can dollar them to death. $1 a kid. Okay? It's like, normally I use this. I'll show you. Willie and Wally, you'll know why this got sent back. You'll see right now. Things that sell, and I'll do your bird hanger with a running stitch with a loop stitch trim, the old school borrow on you. But right now it's a little, like, I can still go, am I allowed to go into 4:15 or 5:15?
Yeah.
Anybody have to leave here right at 5? I mean, class goes till 5, but can I demo a little more beyond? You're not, nobody's babysitter's gonna be all bitchy at you? Okay. Okay. The easiest thing to do, now I sold for a lot of years at the University of New Mexico in front of the Student Union building on the north side. I started doing that in 1974. And I sold to all these students. And then I came back in the 80s after I moved back there from Florida and all these places I had been. I sold to more students. And then I sold to kids who said, wow, my parents have a dragon just like that. When did they get? Oh, they got that in 1974, so I'm in the mid-80s. And I still sell around the university. They have some shows. And so now I'm saying, my God, Grandpa Bob has a dragon just like that. I remember selling to Grandpa Bob. Was I sitting on a tie-dye blanket, no table, bitching about it was all cold and I'm out here selling shit? Yeah, that was me. Same dragon, looks the same. And the thing that it all started was everybody has a collection is this stupid rockin' swan. And the whole thing's on glass is, if it moves, they will buy it. If it's blue, they will buy it.
Remember that, David.
That's a note.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love glass and everything it's ever done for me. But there's ways to market it, and I might have worked too many circuses, it could be the problem, but and I haven't done one of these in a while, but the odds are it won't work and it'll fall on its nose, or it might. Will it do it right or not? Okay. Okay, so then, oh, yeah, that's what the little kids do. And you know how much I depend on them, but all those little kids now, they're doctors and lawyers and dentists and engineers, and they buy all my big shit now. So that little stupid little rocking swan. I'll introduce you to old school Boro now. This is a bird hanger that I designed when I sold at Walt Disney World. And again, if it moves, they will buy it. This is called running stitch. If you want to get in and get a better clip at the end, you may be better about 2 feet off to the side. Are you filming through the flame?
Oh yeah.
Okay. A running stitch, loop stitch trim, is where the American glassblowers started from doing in the carnivals. I'm doing this little hopscotch, a little air trap in between each of these little runs. This is called running stitch. You can see I'm just running along. When I met Robert Nicholson in 1977, his pieces were on running stitch basis. I had progressed above that. I was putting pieces on dirt wood. Wood I'd find in the dirt, I'd drill a hole in it. It was a sculpture. But this is where a lot of people learn how to work glass. So that's a running stitch base. And this is a loop stitch trim. You got a garden hose and flipped it, you'd have a hump run down the hose. Flip it, turn it 180 degrees. That's what I'm doing with my right hand. It's all done with my thumb. So you see what's happening with the thumb. And the loop stitch is also called drop stitch. It's called weave. It's called, oh God, there's just a variety of ways. All sorts of glassblowers have totally different names for it. Yeah. Lace work, there's just so many names for it. So I designed this little thing after I got really good by doing 1,000 crabs in a row, and then 1,000 bird baths and 1,000 teapots. And then I didn't work there anymore, but I still sold. These things are generally not annealed because they're not solid. I mean, they're put together. Some people throw them in ovens, but mostly not. This is called a teardrop animal. There's a whole series of animals I used to sell for $1. They were coal sealed just like that. And the first ones were a little bird like this. And then he's got a little tail on this side, a little tail on that side. And then he's got an eyeball, a little nose. And like all those birds in the wild, he's got this big hook running off the back of his back. And it's coming. I've done this demo in front of so many people, and it's the most lame thing you can make, but everybody goes, oh, and you'll see it coming. It's almost there. It's ridiculous. It's like you can hear them all the way across the street going, oh. I'm not lying. You just wait.
I'm laughing because I'll be wintertime, I know it.
Fire polish this guy. Oh!
That is awesome.
It moves.
That's
and
awesome.
Then Disney, 1974, there are like 15 people in the back painting them. What color would you like that stain, huh? That was American glass in the 70s. Now, as long as I'm going down memory lane here, a lot of these are little things that at the end of tomorrow, you know, I'll say you can have this. These will all be gifted to the class. The pieces I got in here that I've made, that I'll have you draw numbers, and if there's, you know, that'll be raffled off. The Pegasus is actually a nice piece, much nicer than the Rocking Swan. So here's.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, you get the Rocking Swan. How'd that work out?
Great!
And here's the teardrop animals. And I used to know about 30 different ones. and I used to sell them for $1, and I could do them in 2 minutes. And this is pretty much the same as that little guy there, or his little bird. In the 70s, Corning made 2 pounds of cobalt that they gave to the guy doing demos at the Corning gift shop. And it was for doing eyeballs on little guys like this. And that was the borrowed color in the 70s. So, yeah, so you guys quite happy. So I had my flame off in 2002, filmed 32 hours of video, and then created the marbles and the bead and all these other videos that I marketed after the fact.
And
So-
Delene won that one, didn't she?
Yeah, Delene Peralta. She pretty much was like crying through the whole demo, and she did this Jerry Garcia hand with a dancing fairy. Great. So this will be a teddy bear, the same thing. These are like quick and dirty little pieces. But in 2002, there was this is kind of the beginning. Glass Alchemy was around 2 years old. Paul Troutman been around since the mid 90s, and so we're going through all this video footage that was shot, and I never saw the footage. I was just there helping edit it. And a guy named Daryl Frank, you've all seen that picture of the old happy people in front of the flame off. Daryl ended up being the sound producer for Breaking Bad, and he bought 6 of my pieces for the crew and the cast and all this sort of stuff. But Daryl filmed all these things. This is a teddy bear.
Wasn't it considered the first flame off?
There was a couple other ones in Tucson that I helped organize,
Okay.
but they were flame offs, but they didn't have the professionalism. I wasn't in charge of them, and they didn't have the amount of prizes. We had 207 prizes for 300 people. Wow. And it was the first time a lot of people had seen other people lampworking. So Daryl filmed all this stuff. And there's one kid that was bitching and moaning. I wanted to ask him if he wanted any cheese with his wines. And this little bitch sitting here on camera, and I'm sure he's not in class now, but he said, you know, when I got into glass, there was only 16 colors. I almost reached through that video monitor and said, give me this bitch. Only 16 colors. I waited 25 years to get blue. You know, and then I ran into Bondu at a show in Las Vegas in '86. He was making his own blue, and he had green. He had all these 8 or 9 colors that he was making, like Sue Ellen style.
Yeah.
But this little guy's on camera, and he said, yeah, glass has really evolved a lot. And he says, when I started, there was only 16 colors. You little bitch. They handed you the world and you complained that it wasn't gold plated. Okay, so that's it. So what I did at Disney, I probably am not going to do it. Is this interesting that I tell you there would be stories?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Am I showing you stuff that's good?
Yes.
Just good shit, man.
Hell yeah.
This is the crab. First item that Miguel Bonilla got 3 weeks ago.
Brothers.
Miguel Bonilla died 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
He was the guy that did all the showcases for the Rebus brothers. They needed a corporate gift from Disney. It was Miguel who made it. From 1972 to probably 1990. He had people that took him to castles in England in the 80s to build chariots and, you know, Roman soldiers and all this. I mean, he was incredible. And when I was in the Air Force, the last 3 months of active duty, they sent me to Disney World from Orlando to, or from Cocoa Beach to Orlando. And basically they were told, if you teach this guy how to work glass, you can have him for free. And so they said, okay, hey, that's a pretty good deal for everybody. So I learned how to work glass. I was active duty Air Force still. So they showed me how to do this lame thing, and I made 1,000 of them. They said, that's very good, Louis. Now it's a teapot, and then a bird bath. So, again, loop stitch trim. These were all things that sold for $2.08. And I was being paid by the military, but these guys, the Arribas brothers, wanted me to work faster, make more pieces for them, because I wasn't costing them anything. So they ended up saying, we'll give you 52 cents for each piece, and you just make more of them. So I made more of them. Yeah, you didn't see me touch the side of that torch, did you? So I do 1,000 of this piece, and then I'd do 1,000 teapots, and then I would do 1,000 bird baths, and then I'd go back to crabs, and I did that for 3 months.
Now, why did the military send you for class?
There was a transition program that if you were trained to do a job skill in the military, they would retrain you to a job you could do in civilian life. And generally it was, we'll send you across base to the motor pool, you could learn how to fix tires or do this or that. Or I was a corpsman, pretty much a doctor without a license, and I could do anything I wanted to you because you're military and you couldn't say squat. And I was good at it. I sutured, I cast, I went on ambulance runs, I saved a lot of people's lives, and it was great. I loved it. They ran out of medical insurance for the doctors. There was all sorts of problems in 1973, 74, and that was used as a way of saying, well, Louis, we taught you a skill, but you can't be a physician's assistant as easily as you can be a corpsman, so we're going to give you an other, because they had all this problem with the insurance for doctors. So that was an excuse for them to say, or other. So other was for me to learn a skill in the military, or if I could find any employer to teach me a skill, then the military would continue to pay my salary. I'm trying to remember how this guy goes. It's been quite a few years. So they sent me to Walt Disney World from October of 1973 until January of 74. And so I worked with the Arribas brothers. And I could have done a variety of other things, but I wanted to get off base early because I was in the military, even though I was in the Air Force, and it was very lackadaisical. So I had hair that was not regulation because I was a medic, and I had this is upside down because it's got an inside aspect of a curve, and I had a mustache that was way too big, and there's all sorts of rules that the medics didn't really follow all that well. And so I'm working for the Arribas brothers, but they were contracted by Disney, which made me a temporary Disney employee, which made me get my mustache shaved off and also get rid of that damn earring. What do you think you are? In the military? Yeah. So Disney was way worse military-wise than the military was. When I was there, Mickey Mouse got busted for smoking reefer in his head. So all these costume characters.
Oh my God.
Now we'll see if this guy does a cold chill punny knuckle. So all the costume characters, I mean, we ate at the cafeteria at Disney, and you go into the Disney cafeteria, they have all these costume characters, and there's these cubicles in the cafeteria that are 4 foot by 4 foot and 4 foot deep. And what the hell do they hold? They hold half of a costume character. They hold Mickey Mouse from the waist up. All these things, Tweedledee, Tweedledum, all the costume characters have these animal outfits. And you could put your elbows in to make arms flap. You could have little things to make eyebrows move and wink and all. You can do all this stuff. I'm going to do a teapot now. 10,000.
The radius the brothers, they're still at Disneyland, though,
Yeah.
right? Because I see
Yeah.
that
Really?
guy radio, yeah.
So,
Still there.
so when I was there, there's all this room where you can put your wallet and stuff and a soda, the whole bit. But you could also apparently roll a joint and smoke it in your head.
Okay.
So Mickey Mouse got busted when I was there at the park. And I was working on a back lot. But the time that I worked there, Mickey got busted because he was smoking in his head, and some off-duty state trooper go walking by and he smelled, this Mickey smells like pot. Now what I'm changing is my angle on this so that I'm making a ball that's a running stitch ball. So I don't know if you can see that the angle of my left hand, my right hand is doing the same thing. It's just doing this repetitive poke thing, and I'm doing a running stitch. So now, as I get to about halfway, I'm at the equator of the glass ball. So now I'm going to be changing my angle even more to seal it in. I'm trying to remember how to actually make this thing. And you'd make these things, and there'd be trays of hundreds of these each morning for the people in the back that painted them to paint. And the very last one I did, I put a little, you know, I wasn't a great artist or anything back then, but I had a little tongue sticking out and a couple of hands doing fingers and all. My last teapot, I did this little character guy on it, sent him down the list. And there's nothing about seeing a guy named Alfonso in a Castile Basque accent tell you that we are not amused. Who are you, the queen? No, of course you're not amused. Okay, so this is roughly the teapot, and my running stitch is really bad now. You need to seal that up enough so that I can do the running stitch. Now, the best way to learn how to do this is Homer Hoyt's book has a big section on it. And again, the loop stitch trim.
Yeah, I'm buying that book from Dave when I get home. He's going to sell it to me.
Which day?
Dave Winship.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm buying the Homer Hoyt book, the rights from him when I get home. We seal the deal.
For real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
That's a good book.
Yeah.
I've got 8 pictures in there. I watched him make that from probably, I'd say 1976 or 77 till maybe early 80s, 70s. He worked on it like 3 or 4 years. This is the handle. Yeah, you didn't see me push against the torch. It seems to have something on the top, but I totally forget. It's just interesting to see what this is like. I mean, this is as old school glass as you get for America. We came from the Carnies. They had the glass blowers, the first ones. They were doing, you know, novelty artists and stuff like that. We were in the circus sideshows, right, with all the geeks and stuff. And a lot of times you'd have to pay to watch the glass blowers.
Yeah. They're doing all these little things. It's kind of how you handle the story.
Yep. And there's a guy named, Harold Hacker was a well-known glass blower in the Anaheim area, and he was a tool supplier, and he made a lot of early porch tips. He had the glass concession at Knott's Berry Farm. He charged 10 cents to get in. If you made a purchase, you got your 10 cents back. But it screened out all the parents that would drop kids off. Hey, go watch the glass blower, because the glass blower is inside. You had to go inside to really get a good look. But it stopped all the parents from dropping the kids off. 1954, because he was at Knott's Berry Farm in the 40s and early 50s, 1954, Walt Disney is with a guy that's filming Walt Disney World or Disneyland being made in 52, 53, and he had approached Harold Hacker to be the glassblower at Disneyland, and Harold Hacker says, got to do 10 cents to get in and watch the glassblower. And Disney said, no, it's going to be one price for everything. We're not paying 10 cents to see the glassblower. We just want to, the e-ticket and all that stuff. But so he said, no, I can't do that. So he didn't be the glassblower. The videographer was the uncle of a guy named Bill Rasmussen, who is a glassblower that learned how to work glass in the 1941 Treasure Island World's Fair. Treasure Island was between San Francisco and Oakland. When you took the bridge across the way, there's this little thing that was an old military base. And they had a World's Fair there that coincided with the New York World's Fair of 1941. And there was a German glassblower that taught Bill Rasmussen's two older brothers and him. And Bill learned how to work glass in 1941. He still works on the torch today with Philip Villogathal in Boise.
With Philip Villogathal?
Yeah.
Wow. How old is he now?
He's maybe 88 or 90.
Oh, cool.
And his specialty is dancing pigs, like pigs dancing in a circle. He could animate things, and he did all his characters kind of like Disney would draw animations. So Disney's talking with the videographer, or guy who's filming Disneyland being made, and he says, "Man, we need to find a glass blower," and because Harold Hacker isn't going to be it, and this guy says, "I'll bring you something tomorrow," and he talked to Bill Rasmussen. Bill Rasmussen made a Donald Duck and a Mickey Mouse. The next day, he's driving in a limo every day, going in with Walt Disney, and he's making, I'm going to do a bird bath. And I told you there would be stories. And so Bill Rasmussen made a Mickey Mouse and a Donald Duck, gave it to his uncle, he showed it to Walt Disney, and Disney said, hired right there. So they became the glass blowers in 1954 when Disneyland opened up.